Welcome to the MarcWes Sports Podcast.
I was thinking about going, but I got a little man. I don't have nobody to watch him, so school's about to start. I can't waste all my watching with the parents, right now for something that is not. I mean, it's Canes Fest, but it's not a real game, and so I'll pass. I'll pass on it.
Yeah, but it's not gonna be televised. They don't even want us, the media, taking pictures of video, and they don't want the fans taking pictures of video. They said as soon as they see anybody filming anything or taking pictures, they're gonna take you out of the stadium. So Cristobal is running a really, really tight ship over there.
General, man, come on.
So yeah, I'm gonna be over there. I'm gonna be in the press box. They said they're gonna allow us to be in the press box. So
thank God, boy, with that damn heat shit.
Yeah, I know, exactly. So I'll be tweeting and I'll be putting stuff on my message board on what I see out there. But I'm really excited to see these youngins, go out there, man, because I truly think that this is the recruiting class that is going to change the U around, because so many of them are shining right now, especially our guy, Ray Joseph is. Yeah, I think he could possibly start at some point. He's that dynamic, and he's been made, like, every time you ask somebody in these press conferences, oh, how are the wide receivers doing? The first name that always comes up is Ray Joseph, and Coach Kevin Beard, to put it in perspective, compared him to Santana Moss.
Yep, I seen that interview.
Yeah, he compared it to Santana Moss and said that, because he's really fast, still very raw. Because Santana was kind of a raw product coming out of high school, out of Carroll City.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't really catch a lot of balls. He came to Miami on a track scholarship, didn't even have a football scholarship. So he kind of evolved into this great player for Miami. So that's what we're seeing from Ray Joseph. Ruben Bain is lifting more, is bigger, and it's just still dominant. It's the same thing with the defensive line. The same way you ask, hey, who's standing out on the defensive line? Oh, well, Ruben Bain. Ruben Bain is like the first name that kind of comes out, especially when they talk about, the freshmen. So I'm excited to see what they do, if they can continue to what they did in the spring, because they shine in the spring game, and this is kind of like a spring game. It's like the fall game, I guess you could say. That's open to the public. So I'm excited to see them really ball out. I mean, for me, it's like to let you know, it's like we get to see, like, I want to say 10 minutes of practice. That's it. Like, and you don't get to see a lot. And they're not showing nothing to us. Like, they doing the most basic of basic drills. We can only film like warm-ups. We can't film or take pictures of them, doing one-on-ones or 7-on-7s or, one-on-ones with the D lineman, O lineman on the running back, linebackers. But I get to see it, So when I'm out there, I tell you who flashes to me, man. Jadaeus Richard, he's a transfer from Vanderbilt.
Mm-hmm.
He seems like he's going to be that guy. He's still very young. He's just a sophomore, but can play a lot of variety of positions. He flashes to me. I think James Williams is really going to show up this season. I mean, the way that he looks, the way he talks, seems like he's humbled. He seems like he's just really focused on taking his game to the next level. And I think this D coordinator is really going to make a big difference for him, because he's more focused on the defensive back, his former defensive back himself. He's always working with the safeties. They got to die, usually working with the cornerbacks. But he's always working with James Williams, and James Williams always is like at the front. He's always leading the pack on the drills, and then right behind him is Cameron Kitchens. So I really think James Williams is really he looks like he's more built too. That at times when you looked at him before, he looked a little skinny. He looks like he's kind of filled out.
Okay.
He moves a little bit more fluid. So I'm really excited for James Williams and what he can do. And what we've been hearing in camp is that he's going to move more to more like an outside linebacker type of role, or like a nickel, like that's right at the line type of role. And
Perfect.
I've been watching this kid
Kind of like what the Honey Badger used to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or Buda Baker, who I love. Buda Baker is like one of my favorite players in the NFL. He's kind of underrated. But he's one of those type of players, one of those hybrid type of players. So he's gonna confuse a lot of offenses because you're gonna think he's at the line, but he might drop off, or he may be deep and then he's just gonna run up to the line and smash somebody. So I'm really excited to see kind of what James Williams is going to do in this defense. He could be lined up at linebacker at times. Outside linebacker could come off the edge, could play nickel. They're going to use him in a variety of different ways. As far as the other players that are flashing on defense, to me, like Malik Bryant, this freshman from Jones, he's got family ties to Edgerrin James. That's kind of the reason why he came to the U. And like he is like, I think he's gonna be legit. Like after Wesley's been looking great. Wesley Basaint, he's been looking fantastic, man. And Francisco Malgoa, the brother of Francis, has been looking amazing as well. So that linebacker group, I know you've been watching these last couple of years. The linebacker's been kind of suspect these past couple of years. Yep. They haven't been deep. They haven't been making great tackles. They just seem out of place at times, and missed tackles. And now, first of all, the overall size is different. The overall size is just different. Marcellus Pulliam is another guy. Popo looks. Been hearing amazing things about Popo, of how
he's gonna do good with a nickname like Popo.
Exactly. Not the police.
Not the police, but imagine on the field, Popo, knock his ass out.
Right. So he's been balling out, really been grasping the defense well. Just all the rookie linebackers, the freshman linebackers have been really shining. Bobby's one of the fastest on the team, period.
How do you feel his awareness been, because you told me last time he got the speed, but of course he'll get better with where he needs to do certain things. Okay.
Yeah, he's getting there. He's getting there. The thing about linebacker is like you kind of have to like know what's going on. You can't just be fast and strong and just run into people. You kind of have to know what's going on, and I think he's getting there. I think he's not. I don't think he's on a level where you would see him starting or playing a lot. You may see him in that Bethune game in a couple weeks. What I'm saying? That Bethune game is going to be fun because you get to see pretty much every player is gonna get a chance to get out there. But I'm really excited about this defense overall, man. I really think it's going to continue to be the strength of the team. You got Akeem Mesidor, who was balling like a dog for us last year until he got hurt. He's kind of taken Ruben Bain under his wing, and Ruben Bain has been kind of pushing him from what I asked him a question myself, Akeem Mesidor, about how, Ruben Bain's been coming along and how he took him under his wing. And he was like, we was at practice and, I started out a little slow and he got on my back, what I'm saying? And he got me all pumped up. And I was like, damn, Ruben Bain is already motivating the veterans, bro. So, it's great to hear stuff like that, and Leonard Taylor is, coming back from an injury as well. And
how did he look? Leonard Taylor, weight-wise, because again, last year, he was doing his thing when he was out there, but I think he could have been a little bigger. I haven't seen him in person. I don't know if he gained more weight like Ruben Bain has, since he's been on campus. But, tell me about Leonard Taylor, because, for me, it's him and Ruben Bain. And another question I wanted to ask, do you think Ruben Bain's going to start? Because, everybody's talking about Ruben Bain, from my understanding. from you to Alex Dono, you know, and he actually mentioned you speaking to you on when I seen his episode yesterday. Yeah, he actually said Marcus Benjamin. I was like, yeah, you feel me? You know, so I was happy to hear that too. But yeah, your name is spreading as well when I'm watching different outlets, because of course, you know, I watch you know, Kings County, but I also got to go ahead and get different perspectives from different people that do the same thing that you do. But yeah, man, I want to know, like, do you really think that Marigoa is going to start, and do you think Ruben Bain is going to start? Those were the two real questions I really wanted to ask you before I forgot.
Yeah, I mean, I would say there's a really good chance, really good chance that Francis Mauigoa is going to start.
Okay.
You know, the only player that I think like a lot of people not even really talking about is Matthew McCoy. That kid is big, and I think he may challenge Francis Mauigoa for that right tackle spot. Zion Nelson, just so you know, he's just not ready, man. He's just not ready at this point. He's just basically is playing without some cartilage in his knee. So it's like it's going to be tough for him to be the same guy that he was. And I feel bad for him, to be honest, because
Let me just say it for you. His career is over. His career is over. Availability is the best ability. I know Marcus is, you know, surrounded, you know, he's on campus and, you know, he got to be politically correct. But me outside looking in, me being an individual that follows everything about the Canes and the Dolphins and so on in Miami. And for the longest, I've been trying to say his career is over because he's always injured. Mark is going to say politically correct. Availability is the best ability, and he's going to have you think however you want to think. I'm going to tell you his career is over. We had Dwayne Wade that had to go ahead and end his career when he could have had 2 more, 3 more years, but the same problem, that cartilage in your knee, you don't have that. Being a guy that's over 300 pounds, it's not going to get any better. It's going to get worse. And for it to already be like that when you're in college, you're like not even 20, you're 22, 23. Like, you think you're going to get better? Your best days are when you're young. So sorry. I don't know any other way to say it. I know Mark is going to, put some icing on it to make it sound a little better, but hey.
Yeah. I'm definitely gonna let you say it, man, because I feel bad for him and the situation and his family, obviously. But at this point, he could be a rotational guy. But I don't see him challenging Francis because I hear all kinds of great things from Francis. They call him CC and they call his brother Kiko. So they I think have a really good chance to start. Now Ruben Bain, I don't think he starts over Nigel Lee Kelly. Nigel Lee Kelly, because to me probably the only player that he could possibly challenge to start over would be Jafari Harvey. Jafari Harvey is a veteran though. He's filled out. He's ready, basically ready for the NFL. As long as he doesn't injure himself really bad this season and he has a solid year, I could see him going in the NFL draft maybe as a 5th, 6th round pick. So with that being said, Jafari Harvey is more of a ready type of defensive end. And Nigel Lee Kelly, they've been raving about him as well ever since last year. So he is a player. I don't quite see Ruben Bain starting over him. And then you got Akeem Mesidor, who he's definitely not going to start over. And then you got Leonard Taylor. So those are like your 4 guys. So I think he's definitely going to be in the rotation because defensive line is a position where they rotate guys. And they're big dudes. They get tired, and you want guys fresh, especially on 3rd down. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't be surprised if you saw Ruben Bain on a 3rd down come in, especially if it's like a long drive. You see him kind of rotating in. The defensive coordinator said that the defensive line is the strength of this defense because they're deep. You know what I'm saying? These are things that we haven't heard, bro. We didn't hear, the linebacker room is deep. Cristobal was raving about the linebackers yesterday. And then the DC, like I told you, saying, we have a lot of depth. Like, we don't hear that. We have not really heard that. So the fact that, you got a Ruben Bain that's going to be in the rotation, Jaden Wayne, the other freshman, I hear it's going to be in the rotation as well. And then you got veterans that are also going to be in the rotation, like Jacob Lichtenstein. He's going to be a rotating body. He's probably not going to do anything great, but he's going to be a rotating body. And then Jared Harrison Hunt. You haven't seen him because he was injured during the spring as well, but he's going to be another guy rotating in and out. And then Ahmad Moten, the kid from Cardinal Gibbons, you're going to see him kind of rotate in and out as well as far as the inside. So I don't think he'll start unless you see Jafari Harvey go down with an injury. Then you could probably think, okay, well, he might start. Or if Kelly goes down with an injury, or maybe if Mesidor goes down with an injury, or Taylor. I think in order for him to start this season, you probably have to see an injury. Okay. But that doesn't mean that you're not going to see him consistently all year, because you will.
Okay. Yeah. Running backs. Everybody talking about that freshman that supposedly was supposed to come in the summer, and the summer is here. You know, he's supposed to be the human bowling ball. You feel me? I want to know what's going on with him. I mean, Trevante Citizen, I know he's probably not going to start the season. I mean, I heard him say it come out his mouth. He's like, he didn't give us a timetable, you know, if it's going to be early, mid, or late in the season, but he said he do expect to, you know, play. Now, from, you know, when Trevante Citizen was, you know, one of the prospects coming into Miami, rate his size compared to the human bowling ball. You feel me? Because I haven't seen any of them in person, and I don't know who's the biggest. I don't know. I mean, of course, everybody's going to have that lateral movement, know how to jug. Of course, everybody's going to have a little power, but I'm talking about who looks the part for you, because I trust you. I know all these other guys I listen to, but you there, and I know you personally. So kind of give me the game. What it's looking like.
Yeah, when I look at the running backs, it's easy to see who the biggest one is, bro. It's Mark Fletcher. It's the freshman. The freshman Mark Fletcher is already the biggest running back in the room. I wouldn't say by far, but it's significant. You could tell he is the biggest dude in the room, which is crazy. You know, Trevante Citizen, I did look it up to make sure. It's funny that you asked that. I was like, is Trevante Citizen the same size? But he's slightly smaller, and not that much smaller though. He's like maybe 10 pounds less and an inch less than Mark Fletcher. But they pretty much kind of the same guy. And that tandem is something to really get excited about, because if you got those two guys, because right now our veterans are obviously Henry Parrish, who is basically like your best balanced back. I mean, I looked it up. He was averaging 6 yards a carry. The great thing I like about Parrish is that you hardly have a bad play, but you don't have an explosive play. You know, you don't have a 60-yarder. You know, Henry Parrish is just not that guy. Rooster was, but, you know, Rooster's gone now. But then they brought in A.J. Allen, who is basically the second coming of Rooster, from what I hear and from what I've seen, too. Catching the ball very – what's that?
We need to give him a name. The Rooster sound good. We got to give him a name.
Yeah, we do have to give him a name because, he's very similar to him. He's kind of like a one step in the ground and gone type of player, and catches the ball very well out of the backfield. I could see him on third down and long situations being in the game. The only thing I kind of worry about is maybe in blocking situations. And Cristobal mentioned that Fletcher is doing a great job of pass blocking as well. You know, my guy Frank thinks that Fletcher is going to end up being the starter, you know, and I'm not quite sure. And we got a bet going on that we set today saying, oh, who's going to get the most goal line carries in the first game? Is it going to be Don Chaney, who I didn't mention yet, or Mark Fletcher? You know, and for me, I think Don Chaney has something to prove this year. He's been hurt back-to-back years. Season-ending injuries. But I think this is his year to really show, like, hey, I think they're going to give him the ball and let him show what he can do. If he doesn't show what he can do, then we know we're going to see Mark Fletcher. You know, that's how I feel like it's going to play out. I think Henry Parrish is going to be your first down, maybe second down back, and they will bring in A.J. Allen. And when it comes to short yardage situations, it's going to be Don Chaney, or it's going to be
Mark Fletcher.
Trevante Citizen, once he is completely healthy, I spoke to him personally at Media Day, and I was getting the feeling that we're going to see him play. Of course, a player is probably going to tell you a little bit more than what it really is, but he didn't walk with a limp. He seemed fine. He seemed like he was mentally ready to just kind of get out there. He's been working out, been doing drills, on his own. But I think the earliest that we may see him is that Bethune game, and that's the third game of the season. Okay. I think that's the earliest that we'll probably see a Trevante Citizen on the field to kind of see what he got. But I think for the future, for like not this year, but the following year, and you got Trevante Citizen and AJ Allen is young too. He's only a sophomore. You got AJ Allen, Trevante Citizen, and Mark Fletcher for the future, for the next 2 years potentially. It's a really good place to be. Because remember last year, bro, we had to pick up somebody. We had to pick up somebody from UAB, Lucius Stanley, because we was dealing with injuries. Last year was a nightmare on so many fronts, man.
Okay, yeah.
But when I look at the team this year compared to last year, it's even more evident. It's like, damn, that team was really bad when it comes.
Mario Cristobal should have did what Sean Payton and said. You feel me? Like, I inherited bullshit. I had to get everybody up out of here. You feel what I'm saying? But Mario Cristobal has a little bit more class. He's not gonna say that. but yeah, man. I mean, enough about the Canes. It's still about the Canes because we're talking about their division, but there's rumblings about the ACC getting dismantled. There's rumblings about FSU saying that we don't have no problem giving this $120 million to get the hell about this shit. You feel me? Because y'all not gonna go ahead and have us with a noose around our neck like y'all be doing. Nah. We gonna go ahead and pay that bread and get the hell up out of here. Miami's not really speaking on it in public right now. I think it's perfect because they're going to find another reason why they're going to hate on Miami, do another investigation or this, that, and the other if we say anything that go against the grain. But from my understanding, these motherfuckers want to bring Cal and Stanford to the ACC. Like, you think I'm trying to stay up 10 o'clock watching the boys play because they're playing in California? I am not trying to do that shit. You feel me? I want to get your opinion on that. And does it do anything for you wanting to watch certain games? Because I'll probably watch the Miami versus
Give me a quick second. Let me let somebody in. Oh.
Okay, yeah. Because I probably want to see Stanford, but I'm not trying to really see Stanford. I mean, it's a smart school. It's a educational school. I mean, every college is educational, but it's based on being in college and being like one of these prestigious schools, and you don't normally get that many good players. You had Andrew Luck that came from Stanford. You had Richard Sherman that came from Stanford, but I don't really know too many players that came from Stanford. I'm sorry.
Christian McCaffrey to me is probably the best player that I can think of that come out of Stanford. But that's the reason. Best ability is availability, right? and McCaffrey's still in the league and Luck's out, because he takes too many hits, But you hit it right on the head, man. They want these educational schools. The ACC is trying to be portrayed as this educational conference. They got Miami is actually a pretty good school academically. They got Duke. And they got some other schools they're good. Wake Forest is pretty decent. Boston College that is a pretty decent school academically. Syracuse, and then that's the appeal. It's not, but what doesn't make any sense is that these are small markets, bro. Like Stanford is not technically in San Francisco. It's in Palo Alto. Nobody knows where that is. And then Cal is in Berkeley, which it's like not North Cal, not Southern Cal. It's like Middle Cal, So these are not huge markets. Like when you see a Stanford or Cal game, sometimes those stadiums are not even filled up because most of these kids are studying, bro. They're trying to build like rockets or something, like, or come up with the cure for cancer or something like that. So yeah, there's really not a lot of appeal money wise. I think the conference is interested just because of the education and the appeal of just having a West Coast audience. You know what I'm saying? I feel like they need some teams now because with everything going on, I think you need some teams because the Big Ten loading up, Big 12 is loading up, SEC's loading up. They about to get Texas and Oklahoma next year.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you need some teams. I would like to see if they grab maybe a UCF. That would have been smart, but obviously they're going to Big 12 or West Virginia that has some ties to the Big East back in the day. We used to play them. That team back in the day, or maybe, I don't know, a UConn, Connecticut, kind of close to the New York market. So you kind of get some of that. So I would see maybe those teams would kind of make more sense than a Cal or Stanford. But it's crazy out there, man. It's crazy. And the thing is that it's going to be harder for teams to make the playoff because, the playoff is going to be expanded in a couple of years.
12 teams.
Not next year, but I think the year after that. So it's going to be 12 teams, but these teams that are playing in these big conferences, they're not going to get a chance, like the teams that used to have a chance, like a UCF. Now you're in a big conference. Now you got to play, big teams to win a conference, and the Big Ten, oh my gosh, there's so many good teams in that conference now. You're talking about Oregon, you're talking about USC, Washington, to add to a Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, Wisconsin, like all these teams. It's going to be tough for like a middle tier team like an Iowa who used to kind of make it sometimes, or like a Michigan State who can kind of maybe sneak their way into the playoff. They actually made it to the playoff one year. That's not going to happen with all these teams. So it's going to be interesting, but I'm just waiting for the playoff to expand because once that happens, the other interesting part is Florida State, though, man. Florida State, they want out, and they're like, "Oh, we whatever, we'll pay that." It's $120 million is the buyout, and Miami's like, "Nah, we ain't paying that," and Florida State's like, "Maybe we'll pay that," And if they pay it, where do they go, and should we follow? Because if they end up in the SEC. Should we go to the SEC, or should we just dominate the ACC at this point? Because if Clemson and Florida State end up going to the SEC, then who's that left with us? I mean, we gonna be battling North Carolina for the championship for the ACC every year.
Me personally, I don't care. If Miami wind up leaving, I was thinking about the same thing. Clemson and Florida State leaving and Miami dominating shit. Whoever there's left over, I mean, of course they expanded the damn playoffs. So even if they consider, this is not one of those conferences that's really like heavy, or competitive like that, they'll still make the playoffs. All you need to do is just win your games and have a better record than the other, and you should be perfectly fine. Our name speaks by itself. I mean, they hate us anyway. So, I mean, and I think the playoffs would be better if Miami's in there. But that's me thinking because I'm local. So regardless of the fact, me personally, I just want the playoffs, like you said, to expand itself. Whatever happens with the conferences is going to happen. I don't really care because me personally, I wanted to be like how I was back in the G with Miami. Miami dominating everybody. I don't care who the hell it is. ACC, Big 12, Big 10, SEC, I don't care. If we make the playoffs, we're going to be playing different on conferences anyway, so it doesn't even matter. But yeah, man, enough about conferences, about University of Miami, the Dolphins.
Just win, baby.
Oh, just win, baby. Just win. But I want to go ahead and jump into you see what happened, over the weekend That river fight, that river boat fight.
Yeah, how could I not see that, man? I think it was like all over Twitter. It was all over Instagram. It was like different angles too. I felt like I was watching a football game and they would just keep doing the replay, giving you different angles,
Yes.
showing you what happened.
Yes.
And then they was coming up with nicknames for the different people that was in it. You know, they were calling the dude that jumped in the water and swimming, that was calling him Aquaman.